It isn't news to anyone to hear that there are rich people and poor people in virtually every society on our planet. But should the fact that you have more money determine whether or not you contribute your fair share to the general well-being of society? I think not. Rich people avoiding their taxes puts more weight on the shoulders of the middle class and lower class. Our votes in politics can help to change things, and we should vote for legislation and politicians that will better our society. First, let's start off by talking about the issue here. In America, as well as around the globe, the wealth gap continues to grow. A good indicator of wealth gap and wealth inequality uses median household income, and it's called the Gini index. And the Gini index uses a scale of 0 to 1, 1 being perfect inequality, 0 being perfect equality. A 2019 article by the Associated Press from NBCnews.com stated that from the years 2017 to 2018, the wealth gap in America grew from 0.482 to 0.485. The sad part of this is just following a trend. For the past 50 years, the Gini index has been slowly rising. So on the global stage, a 2020 article from Oxfam International told us that the richest 1% in society have 2 times the wealth as 6.9 billion people on our planet. This doesn't just seem right to me, that such a small, exclusive group of people should have more money than everyone else in the world. This huge inequality in wealth puts half of all people on our planet living at about $5.50 per day. That's barely enough to get a single meal at McDonald's. So let's see how tax factors into this inequality. So this issue is pretty repetitive. Rich people have more money, so it's easier for them to avoid paying their taxes. And by being able to avoid their taxes, they retain more money, and it becomes a cyclic, repetitive cycle. So how much money is society missing out on? Well, despite 1% of the population having twice the wealth, only 4% of tax revenue comes from tax on the wealthy. There are 2,800 billionaires in the world, and these 2,800 people have more money than 60% of the Earth's population. These insanely rich people are estimated to avoid almost 30% of their tax liability. So this inequality can be viewed through the lens of median household income. In 2020 data from the Pew Research Center showed us that there had been an increase for the upper class in median household income from the years 2001 to 2016, but a decrease in the middle and lower classes. The upper class increased 33%, the middle class decreased 20%, and the lower class decreased a staggering 45%. This is a classic example of how in America, having more money creates more money for individuals. So let's look at how wealth inequalities are going in the wrong direction and how these effects can be detrimental on society. The current tax system we have in place would work better if the rules were enforced efficiently and people abided by them. So some people who have a lot of money evade their taxes, and many of these people don't get caught. This is part of the reason that public services are underfunded. Just imagine all that money that could be put towards Social Security, infrastructure, education. James Ziliak said on page 23 of his book, Understanding Poverty Rates and Gaps, that since the 1990s, government programs like food stamps, school lunch, and housing subsidies have been found to lower poverty rates. It's no wonder that when assistance is provided to the poor, it is easier for them to make it out of their current situation. But without funding, this can't happen. On page 180 of David Johnston's Divided, The Perils of Our Growing Inequality, he outlines the current severity of our issue on the national level and on the global level. He says, "Equality works, extreme inequality does not. Out of the grotesque opportunism that we've seen among owners of great wealth in the past 10 years has come a colossal waste of financial capital and human energy." So we can talk around it all we want about reasons why such a small portion of the population has most of the money and why the vast majority have less money. But the core matter of it is this: wealth distribution is the only way that we can fully ensure the elimination of poverty and extreme wealth in society. And what's the best way to do this? Well, sadly, taxes. So let's see how we can change things. Well, the only way that we can create change is if average Americans take a stand for themselves and push for new laws and actions. There's currently steps being taken to do this, and we'll talk about those later. In an article from the Oxfam International that I stated earlier, they said inequality is not inevitable, it is a political choice. And this is the mindset we need to have, that our political actions will ensure rising equality. So actions being taken right now that could alter the quality of living and that you could be a part of include Biden's administration's current plan to start enforcing global taxes on huge corporations. And this could transform economics around the world, and it could help us progress towards world equality. It could put an end to large corporations and wealthy individuals being able to escape past tax laws and finding loopholes in tax systems. So by voting and supporting this legislation and these movements, we can start changing things. So national and global inequality in economics isn't new, but it's a problem that's progressively getting worse. With the richest people continuing to find ways to avoid their taxes, middle and lower class people sink lower in finances. But it's not too late to change things. If we want to be the generation that changes the world, we need to act now.